Hi guys, my name is Brittany. Welcome to today's video. I want to talk to you guys about banned books. I kind of want to do like a series, like one day a month, right? Have a video covering a book that has been banned, kind of telling you why it's banned, and also giving you the synopsis of what happened in the book. Today's book I'm going to talk to you guys is The Giver by Lois Lowry, and why it was banned, who was trying to stop it, and the controversies kind of surrounding that to a very diluted overview of it. But first, I need to kind of talk to you about banned books. Books are not like TV shows or broadcasts that you see on television, because I feel as though there's a lot of censorship regarding those in terms of what you can put on TV, what you cannot. Good, bad, or indifferent, no matter what your opinion is, there is censorship with that. However, with books, it's a little bit more nuanced. Most of the book bans don't typically happen on a federal level. I'm specifically speaking in terms of like American society. That is not the example for other countries, and I would love to do a video about that, but that is like a whole nother video in terms of book bans in other places of the world. But in America, mainly for the most part, the federal government isn't doing a whole bunch of book bans. It mainly happens on the local level. Before a book is banned, it is challenged. So in terms of a paraphrased version definition from the American Library Association, or ALA, they basically define a challenged book as the attempt to remove it, whereas a ban is actually the removal or restriction of this book. A little bit of history about banned books. During the McCarthy era of time, that is like the early 1980s, there was a lot of book bans happening, specifically because of fear of communism. This is when this is when the Cold War. This is when the Cold War was happening after the World War, as well as they're trying to be like eradication of any un-American ideas or values. And so you see a lot of book bans during this time. In 1982, one of the most notable book bans or topics regarding a Supreme Court decision was between the Island School District versus Pico. And this was like really the first pivotal moment where being able to access information from a library was held under the First Amendment of like freedom of speech. In this court case, they were hearing or trying to evaluate, is it ethical or is it just that a local government can go into a library and remove books? And the conclusion from this court ruling was that having access to information, specifically through a library, should be held and supported under the First Amendment. And so it's kind of like a pivotal change in terms of how people thought about book bans, access to information, and where should be allowed to have access to information with the minimal restrictions as possible. There are several reasons why books are banned. Several reasons. Here are just a few. I'm listing them from the highest percentage of why books are banned to the least. But here are a few. Some of them are for sexual conduct, offensive language, unsuited for the age group, religious viewpoint, anything regarding LGBTQIA, violence, racism, the use of illegal substances, anti-family content, which is very interesting to me, and political viewpoint. So these are pretty much the main themes on why people banned or challenge books. A lot of opinions that come out in terms of support for banning books is they are trying to support children. They're not support, but protect children. A lot of people feel as though the only people who should be able to dictate what a child reads or doesn't read should be their parents. And so that is kind of like the conversation that has happened. We have the American Library Association that definitely like condemns banning books. Just, I think from the knowledge that I got, is that it's a very slippery slope, because everything is subjective of like why it should be banned or if it should not be banned based off of people's biases, freedom of speech, people's ideas and intellect, kind of like this ongoing conversation. And then it also kind of pivots into a place where, for example, I think it was, what is it? For example, in 2016, PEN America, they issued this article, and the article was called Missing from the Shelf: Book Challenges and the Lack of Diversity in Children's Literature. And so you have these book bans, and over time, you start to see that they are curated to regions or ethnic groups or racial groups that are underrepresented, such as persons of color or people who have disabilities or the LGBTQIA community. And so you have these nuances where, like, if you can just ban any book or ban books unilaterally, it kind of would impact more than it would help, is kind of the testament or the sentiment. And the last thing in terms of book bans, we've seen that it's very much correlated with education censorship, and they connect. If that makes sense? I don't know. So let's talk about The Giver. I want to talk specifically about the book The Giver. This book is by Lois Lowry. It was published in 1993 and it is a young adult dystopian novel. And in this part of the video, I'm going to tell you pretty much everything or the gist of the book and everything that happened. It is very much a classic. If you haven't read it, I would very much recommend you to. This book is situated in this utopian society, or this seemingly utopian society. We have a boy named Jonah who is growing up. He is about to turn the age of 12, and in this community, at the age of 12, you are given your career, the career that you will have for the rest of your life. And that's kind of the benchmarks of each single age. Like, one age, you get a bicycle. At another age, you get a ribbon or a tie. And so there's these benchmarkers that every single year you are increasingly like growing, and you're growing unilaterally with all of your peers. Like, there's no separation. Like, all 12-year-olds need to act like 12-year-olds. It doesn't matter if you were born in the beginning of the year or the end of the year. Like, you all need to be, to a certain extent, identical in like your mannerisms and your development. He is growing up in this nuclear family. He lives with his sister, his mother, and his father. Most notably, his mother works in like the justice system. His father he's a doctor, and he works with the babies. The father is working with this one child at his job. His name is Gabriel, and he brings him home with him. Gabriel isn't necessarily growing or developing as fast or as quickly as he ought to be. They are bringing him home, maybe that if he hangs out with the family and stays with the family, he can grow and be molded into, like, grow and develop correctly. Jonah is growing up in a world where he's very much restricted without feeling restricted. For example, you will get in trouble if at snack time at lunch you had an apple and you took that apple home and you ate it at home. Like, you would be reprimanded, whether directly or indirectly, for that. Or the use of language and using language and saying specifically what you mean. Anytime that you don't say what you mean or you use the wrong terminology, there's punishment for that, because there is no use to not have clear speech. So figurative language is not a thing. It's not a thing here. And also, one of the most notable things that kind of come up in terms of the ban is that at the age of 12, like, Jonah, well, he's about to be 12, and he is seeing one of his peers that is a girl, and he tells his parents that there's like, he has feelings for her, like, that are like feelings that he's never felt before, but he doesn't specifically know the correct words to explain it. And so his parents start giving him medication, and every day he takes these pills to what they call the stirrings, to suppress the stirrings. One of the other nuances in this community is that elder people who continuously commit crimes, as well as children, like if you have twins, we can't have two, like you can't have, it's not a 2 for 1, you can only have one of one, there's no 2 for 1 type of thing, they get released. This released is just a euphemism for death. We are not taken through the technicalities of it, but it's this consistent story of, oh yeah, they were released. Oh yeah, they were released. And the feeling is very vague. Like, emotions are very vague in this community, which helps promote their isolation from pain, anger, hurt, harm. In this society, you are restricted from a myriad of things. However, you gain the protection from hurt and pain and agony and decisions, right? And so it's kind of like you get something, but there's also very much so a cost. And at the age of 12, he is having his 12-year ceremony. It's the last ceremony that every child has before they go into their career, and he is given his career. At first, his career is very ambiguous. It's very unclear about what his job is. And when he goes for his first day of training, he is given the title of receiver, and there is a man who is giving him, who is the giver. There is one person in this community, only one person at a time, who holds all of the memories of the past, such as war, pain, loss, and good things like snow and Christmas lights and that feeling. And so the giver is giving Jonah all of these memories because it is now Jonah's job. He is going to slowly over time collect and hold on to these memories for the community. He is just supposed to hold on to them so that there's at least one person in this community that isn't oblivious, I guess. And Jonah is figuring this out. He is trying to take on some of these burdens, and he sees the physical strain that the giver has with holding on to all of these memories. And so over time, one of the most fun memories that he has is like of a sled and of snow and of Christmas. Like, that are one of those things that he like really enjoys because those are the things that he has not experienced. He goes back home, and he's definitely much living in a community where he is ostracized intellectually but not physically. He is apart from the rest, where he has this knowledge and this understanding that nobody else in the community has. However, he is still within the community. He doesn't have to follow by most rules. Most people are not allowed to ask him any questions, and he is allowed a certain level of privilege. However, he also has to live in the world with knowing the truth while everybody is just going about their merry way, living in ignorance. And one day he goes home, and his father instructs him that Gabriel, the little baby, he is not growing and developing in the way in which he is supposed to. And so he is going to be released. At this point, Jonah knows that released, he doesn't know the word specifically, but the releasing means death. And he takes it upon himself, along with the help from the giver, to take Gabriel on his bike, and he runs away. He runs away and until he can't run anymore, and he's hungry and it's cold and he's tired of carrying basically a baby for miles and miles. And the book ends with him perching over a mountain, I believe. And the mountain is like covered in snow, and he sees a village down below that is filled with like houses, this like small village with like Christmas lights. And in the book, it reminds you of the memories that the giver gave him when he was in his training. And the book leaves you with this open ending for you to decide, did he face his imminent death and this was just one of his last memories that he ever had? Or did he actually make it to a place, some civilization, some other place where him and Gabriel would be safe and nobody would kill him? And we're just kind of like left. You're left to your own devices with the ending of the book. Let's talk about why this book was banned. Most of the bans from this book happened where they were trying to ban it from school because it is a young adult book. So it's mainly a lot of school bans. The book, it came out in 1993. The first book ban was in 1994 in California, followed up in 1999 by Ohio, and Florida tried to ban it. And then in 2001, in Colorado, a father stated, "These types of books sow the seeds of school shootings by encouraging suicide and disregard for human life." So it was then there was this challenge in a book ban by an individual in Colorado. A lot of parents were upset regarding this book because they felt as though it talked about sex, infanticide, suicide, starvation, as well as euthanasia. So Lois Lowry commented with this quote that I'm going to read regarding the banning of books, specifically The Giver, and she states, "I think banning books is a very dangerous thing. It takes away an important freedom. Anytime there's an attempt to ban a book, you should fight it as hard as you can. It is okay for a parent to say, 'I don't want my child to read this book,' but it's not okay for anyone to try to make a decision for other people. The world portrayed in The Giver is a world where choice has been taken away. It is a frightening world. Let's work hard to keep it from truly happening." So yes, that is The Giver. That book has been banned in several states. I don't think it's banned currently. So yes, that was The Giver. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think books should be banned? Do you think that there should be a restriction on certain themes? I don't know. Well, I do know my opinion, but let me know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and guess what? I'll see you next time.